Welcome to Dolphins Today by Chad Sports. I am Nic Rohloff, and on today's episode, we are answering your questions. A Dolphins Today mailbag on the draft, free agency, this roster. We'll have you covered on everything you need to know on what the Dolphins fans would want. And the first question that we're going to answer today comes from Mark Smith. Should they find another big back? So he's talking about a running back here. I definitely believe it should be a priority for Miami. Now, who that is a question. You can look at Phil Maffa out of Clemson, who could be a draft. Cam Scadaboo from Arizona State's a big back as well. Maybe you look at a different back as well. Maybe you could take Ashton Genty at 13. Wouldn't do that, but either way, when you think of what the Dolphins have at the running back room for 2025, you have Jalen Wright, who was a fourth-round pick last year. You obviously have Devon Achane. Raheem Mostert's still under contract. Now, I do expect them to cut Raheem Mostert, save the $3 million in cap space, and then address that RB3 spot in a UDFA or maybe in the draft. But I do believe when you think of what Miami has at the running back spot, Achane is not a big-bodied back. Jalen Wright is not. They're both speed guys. So adding a physical running back that could help you in between the trenches is something I do think would help Miami quite a bit. We saw Jeff Wilson be that guy in a couple spot moments this past season. I'd like to draft a running back maybe in round 5. Dolphins have 2 picks then, or one of the 3 7th-rounders you have, and grab a physical running back for this Dolphins roster. Barry B coming in with a question. Best O-line in the draft. So I'm assuming you're asking the best offensive lineman. Well, there's many guys here available. And it's really a question on if you're talking offensive tackle or interior offensive line. Because you can argue the best pure offensive lineman for their position is Tyler Booker, the interior offensive lineman and guard from Alabama. But if you include offensive tackles, then you'll have to expand it to Armand Membu from Missouri, Josh Connerly from Oregon, Kelvin Banks from Texas, Will Campbell from LSU. And when you start to expand that, the question is, well, are those players going to be guards or offensive tackles? It's pretty unknown about Membu. It's unknown for Will Campbell. It's unknown for Kelvin Banks. Connerly's probably an offensive tackle, but either way, there's many ways to go about it. Personally, I think the best offensive lineman in the class is Will Campbell out of LSU. 3-year starter at LSU at left tackle. He started as an 18-year-old true freshman, and for a true freshman to come in and start at left tackle for a team in the SEC, especially of LSU's notoriety, is impressive. 2-time captain. He has the mental makeup, the leadership, plus the skills to do it. Question is, does he get moved inside to be an offensive guard? That would help Miami, which is why I think Will Campbell is probably 1A, 1B with Malaki Starks as my top 2 prospects for Dolphins fans at potentially pick number 13. Make sure you follow us on Instagram at Dolphins Today. IG is the handle. We're 19 followers away from getting to 700. Let's get there by the end of this weekend. It'd be greatly appreciated. We put out short form content on Instagram in between our YouTube videos here. If you want 365, 24/7 coverage on the Miami Dolphins, follow us on IG as well as be subscribed to the channel. All right, let's move over to another question here from Carter Reimer. What would the Dolphins get if Bevell gets the Raiders offensive coordinator job? So right now, Darrell Bevell is the QB's coach for the Miami Dolphins. If he got upgraded to be the offensive coordinator for the Las Vegas Raiders, would the Miami Dolphins get comp picks? I actually don't think they would. Yes, he's been with the Dolphins for a while, but I don't think it would net them comp picks. I could be wrong on that, but I don't think it will be. Now, it is reported a little bit that Bevell may be the favorite for the Raiders job, which is intriguing to me. And now the Dolphins would obviously have to find a new quarterback's pass game coordinator because Bevell's been with Miami since 2022, and that would be a pretty big loss for the Dolphins. But I don't think it would net them one because if I'm not mistaken, I could be way off on this, so let me know. But, don't you only get comp picks if someone is a diversity hire? Is that the rule? I'm pretty sure it is, isn't it? So Bevell, not that whatsoever. So I don't think Miami would ultimately get any comp picks for him leaving. Mark Smith with a question here again. Should they sign the punter Sam Martin from Buffalo, get the intel on their special teams and a better leg. I don't hate that. Stealing any inside the division guy will always make me happy, especially if they are worth it and they're good at what they do. I think Jake Bailey needs to be cut. We've talked a lot about how Bailey should not be on this roster next season. He was not good this past year. I didn't think he was good the year prior as well. With the new special teams coordinator hired Craig Aukerman, who was with the Tennessee Titans, I think I would look towards someone that he is comfortable with and who he likes. But yeah, I wouldn't hate Martin coming over from Buffalo, but we'll see what the Dolphins ultimately do. Let's go back to an NFL draft question. Not for me, but for you guys at home. Who is your favorite NFL draft prospect for the Miami Dolphins this upcoming year? Right now, mine without a question is Malaki Starks, the safety from Georgia. I am absolutely in love with him, but let me know who your favorite NFL draft prospect is. Kurt LaPlante with a question. Who do you think is the best free agent kickers available? Well, let me pull up the list here. I do have to ask you, Kurt, though. Why do you want to ask about kickers? Jason Sanders is under contract. Jason Sanders was phenomenal for the Miami Dolphins this past season, and the Dolphins are not going to make any switches at the kicker position in 2025. But to answer your question, Nick Folk from Tennessee, Matt Prater from Arizona, Eddie Pinheiro, Michael Badgley, Joey Sly, Brandon McManus. That probably is on the list. It's not very good. If you're thinking punters, which could be a better way to answer this because the Dolphins need a punter, I'm looking at Tress Way, Brian Anger, Johnny Hecker, Jamie Gillen, J.K. Scott, Riley Dixon, Pat O'Donnell, Michael Pilardi. Ryan Stonehouse is a restricted free agent. Don't know if he would be able to be signed and if the Titans would like to bring him back. But Stonehouse was the punter for Aukerman in Tennessee in 2022 and 2023. So I could see that connection certainly being a possibility if the Titans don't retain him. So if you're asking punters, there's a good list for you there. Hopefully the number one guy I'd want on this list is Stonehouse because he was phenomenal in 2022 as a rookie. We're going to answer more questions here on today's episode, but we are sponsored by Prize Picks, the number one daily fantasy sports platform out there. And with the big game inching closer and closer, make sure you get started with Prize Picks because all you got to do is pick more or less on two or more player stat projections to win potentially up to 1,000 times your cash. And right now, check out the promos tab to tell any of the Prize Picks Super Sweat, Millie, Winners, Big Game lineups. If you tell a lineup that goes 3 for 3, you can split $1 million in promo funds. Also take advantage of the free pick for the big game. Patrick Mahomes, more than half a passing yard. PrizePicks also offers weekly promotions that can lead to big payouts like Taco Tuesday. Each Tuesday, PrizePicks discounts select player projections up to 25% to provide even more value for your lineups. PrizePicks also invented the Flex Play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks does not hit. Download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. One more time, download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. Run your game. Next question coming in from Callum. Would you consider trading down for Tyler Booker, the interior offensive lineman from Alabama, if Malaki Starks, Kelvin Banks, and Will Campbell are all picked before us? I would. I really, really would. Now, there is a lot of buzz right now, and things will change from now until late April, as they always do, that Banks actually might be slipping down boards already here. There is a lot of mock drafts out there by Daniel Jeremiah. Now, Mel Kiper had Banks going in the first 12 picks of the draft, but Daniel Jeremiah had him going in the mid-20s. So it's no guarantee that Kelvin Banks is a top 15 pick. Would I take him at 13 if I was Miami? Absolutely. But maybe they fall in love with a different offensive lineman, like Tyler Booker, like an Armand Membu, like a Josh Connerly from Oregon. I do think Will Campbell would be a home run pick at 13. Him or Starks are my top two guys right now. But if Starks or Campbell are gone, I would maybe think about going into Banks's range if he's there. But if he's not, yeah, Tyler Booker on a trade down is absolutely something I'd consider. Move down 3 or 4 spots, get third, fourth round picks in this draft or future drafts, and take Tyler Booker. Say you were starting left guard or right guard. I'm absolutely in on that. All right, make sure you are subscribed to the channel because we will have you covered on everything surrounding this Dolphins football team. Live shows on Tuesdays, mailbags answering your questions today, news, rumors, mock drafts. We got it all for you here at Dolphins Today. So join the channel. Let's get to 68,000 subscribers. Bahama 68 with a question. We picking a quarterback in the draft or free agency? Why not both? I seriously think both should be on the table for the Dolphins. Right now, Miami only has one quarterback under contract. That man, Tua Tagovailoa. So you need to address the backup quarterback spot. And with Tua as your QB1, I think you need to have a certified and competent backup as your guy. But you also should have a QB3 as well because we know how injury prone Tua is, and you don't want just one guy to be kind of all on his shoulders, right? So to me, I think signing a veteran in free agency in early March is an absolute must. And then drafting one on day 3, whether it's the 4th round, whether it's the 5th round, the 7th round, it doesn't matter. Drafting a quarterback to be a developmental guy as your third QB behind Tua and that veteran quarterback that you signed for agency is the way to go if you were asking me. I'm targeting Andy Dalton. I'm targeting Jameis Winston. I'm targeting Jacoby Brissett, Drew Lock maybe even, Marcus Mariota. Those are my type of guys that I would like to see potentially for Miami. And I would absolutely be picking one of those guys in the draft, whether it's Cordis Rourke, Dylan Gabriel in the draft as well. All right, who you're rooting for, by the way, in the Super Bowl? It's coming up soon. Type your KCs for the Kansas City Chiefs. Type your PHIs for the Philadelphia Eagles. Who are you rocking with for Super Bowl 59? Get down in the comment section and let me know. All right, that will do it for today's mailbag. Make sure you are following me over on Instagram at Dolphins Today IG. Like I said off the top, we have you covered on even more news, even more rumors on Instagram, short form content posts. We'll have you updated on everything surrounding this football team, both on social media and YouTube. So join us on Instagram at Dolphins Today IG.